I bid you welcome.
I welcome you to my house.
Welcome to my house.
Welcome to my home.
Hello horror hounds, welcome to my horror house. I thought it would be a bit of fun to rank the looks of Jason in the Friday the 13th movies from worst to best. None of these are a hill I'm willing to die on. It's just for a bit of a laugh and I'm vibing it. The list isn't set in stone, but ultimately what I'd like you to do in the comments below is tell me what your favourite Jason look is. What do you think is the strongest? Are you a classic hockey mask? Are you a Baghead? Are you a zombie Jason? Or are you a human Jason? For me personally, starting off at number 14, it's Jason from Jason Goes to Hell, what I call the Halloween costume Jason. Now, Kane Hodder played Jason 4 times, twice for Paramount and twice for New Look, and they're split equally between 2 excellent looking Jasons and 2 shitty looking Jasons. This, in Jason Goes to Hell, is the shittiest looking Jason of them all. Tubby, ratty. His outfit looks like one of those supermarket bought Halloween costumes for adults. The mask, the warped head, all of it looks like an off-brand Jason knockoff. At number 13 is Uber Jason from Jason X. Jason X has a bit of fun with the Friday the 13th franchise, and taken as a bit of fun, it's a really enjoyable film. If you're going to go goofy, go all the way, that's what I say. So Uber Jason makes absolute sense for the finale of this particular film. Does that mean I want to see a bulletproof cybernetic Jason Voorhees ever again? I do not. At number 12, we're sticking with Jason X, and it's the human Jason, as I call him, Buzzcut Jason. These New Line Friday movies seemed to want to reinvent the wheel again and again. Human Jason here looks to me like someone cosplaying at Jason and trying to give it a sort of Elseworlds multiverse look. Like you might get a steampunk Doctor Strange or a Victorian Catwoman. This is sort of an off-brand Jason, almost from a different timeline. Or like someone trying to sell knockoff Jason figures, but not so close that they infringe on copyright. The mask looks more like something Casey Jones from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would wear. And what is that buzz cut haircut all about? Hodder sells it, but I just ain't buying. At number 11 is Roy from Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. This time Paramount are in the copyright avoidance business. It's Jason, but not quite. At least there's an in-story reason, and while I quite like the way that Roy Jason moves and glares through those eye holes, the boiler suit is lazy and visually boring. So making the top 10 at number 10, from the 2009 remake is Baghead Jason. Derek Mears is a really good Jason, and I do appreciate how the 2009 remake tried to incorporate different Jason looks. This Baghead look, though, seems a little bit too shop-worked to me. It's too busy. This is not a killer who wants to hide his looks and puts a bag on his head because he has a bag handy. This Jason seems to want to style everything out, and that's not my Jason. At number 9, we return to Part 5, A New Beginning, with Hallucination Jason. Just because most of A New Beginning is taken up with Gino, Jason in name only, it doesn't mean that the real Mr. Voorhees doesn't appear, even if it's only in Tommy's head. While Roy is running around diluting Jason's brand, Tommy's PTSD gives us our very first glimpse, pre-Part 6, of Zombie Jason, and a pretty good approximation of the human hockey mask Jason he left dead on the floor to boot. At number 8, maybe controversially, is the classic Jason look from Friday the 13th Part 3. This is really the look that laid the foundation of the myth, but all told, it's a little bit boring. Richard Brooker plays him as a bit of a blank until the final confrontation at the end, a bit of a robot, and his clothes match that. They're functional, but perhaps, dare I say it, visually a wee bit boring. At number 7 is what I call Franken Jason from Freddy vs. Jason. For the purposes of Freddy vs. Jason, this Mr. Voorhees needed to be slightly different to his previous portrayals, much more of a blunt instrument than a great white shark killer. He also needed to elicit a small amount of sympathy from the audience. To that end, his doe-eye, lumbering man-mountain look really sells that alternate, different kind of Jason, while still looking absolutely like Jason Voorhees. And the Freddy glove claw marks across the hockey mask really just makes the whole look pop. At number 6 is part 6, Jason Lives. Zombie Jason, or as I call him, Utility Jason. And I'm in two minds as to whether I should have put this much higher up. And on another day, the Jason Lives look may find itself way higher up in the ranking for me. Newly returned from the grave, this is a really strong look with a great presence. And this is where Jason truly becomes aligned with the older pantheon of Universal classic monsters. Now he's resurrected. The mask looks great on top of that rotten skull. The outfit is wonderfully weathered, but it's the utility belt he picks up that I can't get over. And you may well justifiably accuse me of nitpicking, but Jason has always struck me as a make-do kind of killer, using whatever is to hand. I always find it a little weird to see him already tooled up with a hunting knife and a belt and all the pouches like an action man figure or a G.I. Joe. Now I know he takes this off one of his victims at some point in the movie, but it always seems like he's coming really well prepared for an interview to be Jason rather than just using whatever's to hand. At number 5 for me, we return to the 2009 remake and the classic look. Overall, the remake does a pretty good job of repackaging the Friday the 13th iconography for the Platinum Dunes generation. As with a lot of the Platinum Dunes remakes, though, perhaps it's a little too slick of a look to age well, but this is clearly Jason Voorhees when you look at him. No messing, no fussing. At number 4, I'm turning to Friday the 13th Part 2 and Baghead Jason. Before any of the iconography of Jason had been created, this guy was a backwoodsman killer living off the land. This down-home, plaid and dungarees, burlap sack, use whatever's to hand aesthetic really and truly sells Jason as a living, thinking human killer. This is the only iteration of Jason which ever scared me. But I am a sucker for the iconography of Jason Voorhees, which is why the Baghead look just misses out on the top 3. At number 3, for me, is Friday the 13th Part 8, what I call the waterlogged zombie look. I don't like the film, but I love the look. While it's a shame his mask got destroyed in Part 7, so some kid just happens to have another almost identical hockey mask to hand, is unfortunate. Luckily, it's a really good mask. I love how it's aged and yellowed and how that contrasts with the darkness of his clothes. He's waterlogged, his flesh is greying from having been in the lake for so long. Out of the mask, he looks ridiculous, but in it, he looks like a force to be reckoned with. So at number 2 is Part 7, The New Blood. Bony Jason, as I call him, Kane Hodder's first turn as Jason and my favourite look for Zombie Jason. The clothes are dark and tatty, his body is rotten, you can see his spine and his bones showing through. On top of that, the mask looks pearly white and shines in the darkness like a skull. They light Jason wonderfully in this flick. His eye sockets are empty voids. The damage to the bottom of the mask from the previous film is an opportunity to show rows of teeth in a rotten, cheekless head. This is such a strong look, but it doesn't make number 1. For me, it's the Jason look from Part 4, the final chapter, what I call classic weathered look. I'll take human Jason over zombie Jason any day of the week, and for me, Part 4 took the classic look introduced in the previous film and made it look interesting. The mask is a little bit more beaten up. The dull green shirt and the grey slacks are weathered and look lived in. Jason's nails are black with dirt and his skin is pretty gross to look at. I have to tip my hat to the creators of Jason's classic look in Part 3, but those involved in Part 4 took that look and made it sing.